at where their needs were, of course, they need a scoring wing. You lose that by saying goodbye to Jake DeBrusk, but this is the reality that they're in. That it's hard to complete and check off all your boxes when, and granted, the cap is going up to 88 million, but we've still got a big ticket for the Bruins to sign in terms of the goalie. So overall, they picked up some depth players too, but in terms of addressing their needs, absolutely spot on.
Address the needs for sure, Fluto. But the first person I spoke to about this, who's got pretty good knowledge of these guys, said Lindholm, nice player. That's an overpayment.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably accurate in terms of 8 times 7.75. That's a big number. But what are you going to do, right? Like they have a deficiency there. Coyle and Zaka did very well for what they did, but we saw in the playoffs. Go down the list, right? Barkov, McDavid. There's so many high-end centers that really drive the bus. So, okay, you look at Lindholm, no question. You look at the numbers; they don't really align with the salary. But I think the Bruins hope that okay, let's put him with Pastrnak. Let's see what he can do. This is a player that 2021-22, he was a point per game player, 40 goals, 42 assists. So is he that? Who knows? We'll see. Like you have no questions about what Pastrnak can do. Though if you put him with Pastrnak and Zaka, can they tease out more offense? I would expect that they project more offense. Otherwise, they wouldn't be paying that much. But that's the nature of free agency. You're competing against who knows how many other teams were interested in the player. So price is going to go up. The defenseman, probably an overpayment in that sense too. But that's the nature of UFA.
As you and Hardy alluded to, the production has dropped off. I think there was, if I'm reading this right, pretty steep decline this last season, although he did play well in the playoffs for Vancouver. But what should we expect from him? What is a fair point total to expect from a guy like that?
I think probably 60 to 70 points, I would guess. I would expect that it's going to be a little bit more of a presence than Zaka and Coyle, who both had career years. I can't remember exactly how many points they were, but I would. Is he a point per game player? The last couple of seasons say no. And then you add in the age, and there's going to be a transition to new city, new everything, new team. How does he fit in? So there's going to be a break-in period for Lindholm. But I would suspect 70 points. That's probably the estimate. And yeah, for the salary, okay, you can say that's an overpayment, but that was their need and they filled it.
Yeah, I mean, there's all this talk of overpayment. I mean, they can't win for losing. I mean, they underpay and overpay, and everyone's pissed off about something. But, we talked to you since the Allmark trade. Swayman's still hanging out there, restricted free agent. What's your insight into what's going on with that?
Well, he has significantly more negotiating power, Jeremy, than he did last time. And granted, they're not going to go to arbitration. That's been determined. So I think both sides are pretty pleased about that. That's not the solution here that they want. I think both sides would be quite pleased with a long-term deal. But Jeremy has significantly more leverage. He knows that, okay, he's the guy. And he's the guy, not just for this coming season, but for a lot more seasons. So there's that. Allmark out of the picture. He can look at the playoffs and say, "Hey, look at the season I had and the playoffs that I had against Florida and Toronto. This is what I'm capable of." And you look at the projection of what this guy can be. It looks like he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. So what about the school of thought of investing that much into a goaltender? Where do you stand on that? I mean,
it's a great question. Just because I don't think there's a black and white answer to that. Just look at the final, right? Bobrovsky, I think he makes 10 million or 10.5, something crazy. Highest paid goalie in the league versus Skinner. I think he was 2.4, something like that. So there's no okay. we can say, okay, you need to pay your number one center, the McDavid. You need to pay Barkov. Okay, I think everybody would agree on that. But I think there's different schools of thought in terms of, do you want to invest, let's just say, I don't know, 7.5 million for Jeremy times 8. I don't know that there's a real clear answer to that, because okay, you can say maybe we can get by, so to speak, with paying less for a goalie and then investing that money in a center or a wing, and you can make the case for that too. Granted, I think everybody just looking at the player and looking at his age and kind of understanding who he is and his personality. I think Bruins fans are very pleased, and the Bruins are very pleased to have Jeremy in the system and be locked up for a long time. But it's a great question. There's debate about that question around the league, and based on who you talk to, they probably have a different answer. For me, I want the goalie. Give me the goalie, and give me the guy that's going to play 50, 60 games. Now, we don't know how he's going to perform. Like, that's one of the questions with Jeremy, right? I think part of a big part of his performance these last couple of years was having the partnership. It's just optimal for both goalies, and I think both are better off for it. Now, without that there, what's that going to do to his performance? Who knows? That's the question they have.
Fluto, I'm not sure I have this right, but I seem to remember reading somewhere that Jeremy Swayman's agent is a hardline guy and
Yes.
would prefer to wait, and that could factor into the negotiations, making the number a lot higher than we all think.
Yeah, that's the reputation. Louis Gross is Jeremy's agent, and yes, he does have a reputation for sticking to his client's number. So yeah, maybe that plays into it. And then on the flip side, the Don Sweeney has a reputation for sticking to his guns and being difficult in terms of negotiating on the club's behalf. So maybe that has something to do with it. There's going to be an agreement, but look at both sides, right? That's Don's mandate is to assemble the best team at the cheapest price versus the agent. The agent wants to maximize his client's value, and you look at what Jeremy has done.
Don't you think that's dangerous if you're the agent for a goaltender? We just talked about it. Like, there's different schools of thought this is just more of a philosophical thing, but if you're the agent and there's different schools of thought on, investing that much money into the position, we see what the trade market is for these guys. I mean, I can understand that you're going to pay Swayman a lot of money and that he's going to get a long-term deal. There's no question about it. But in terms of like sticking to a number as an agent, it just out of curiosity, if you're his agent, that's not the position I would want to do that in. I want to be a little flexibility with that. Do you not agree?
Well, I really don't know whether it's just, okay, pay me. I don't know. Is that the philosophy they're saying? Give me this number or forget it. I don't know. That doesn't sound like very much of a negotiation to me.
Right.
But if I'm the player, if I'm the client, please give me the best deal possible. That's the instruction that I'd give to the agent if I were Jeremy. So, hey, that's the business. Lewis has done this for a long time. If I'm the player, I'm trusting the guy I hire to take care of my business to get me the deal that I deserve. So you can see it from both sides why this is a tricky one, and we also have to calculate in that there's no real agreement, right? There's a wide band of what this guy should be paid, and you can make the case it could be as low as 6. It could be as high as you could even make the case that as high as 9. So that's a big band to argue. So it's not easy for sure.
All right. Well, Fluto, you're on top of everything. We appreciate it. The Swayman thing looks like it will work itself out, and you're pleased. I saw that you said they did it. The Athletic did an article, the one weakness for every team that wasn't addressed in free agency. You said scoring wing with the loss of DeBrusk, but do you think just finally that the team is better than they were last year?
Oh, no question. Yeah. Now, we don't know how the goaltending is going to be. It might be worse just because you have the best tandem in the league, and that might suffer just because Jeremy doesn't have that support. So that might happen. but you're absolutely stronger down the middle. You're stronger on defense. Defense should be better, and it's weird. Like you think that's a team strength historically, but it really wasn't last year. The defense, so that had to be better. You can move Zaka to the wing. Who knows what Patra is going to be if he starts the year with the team? You can move Geeky to the wing. They have some options. You bring up Lysell, maybe he sticks. Who knows? But overall, yes, this is a better team.
All right. Well, that's exciting in itself. Fluto Shinzawa, enjoy yourself. Thank you for being available and all the information. Read Fluto in The Athletic. I do. Thank you so much for the time, Fluto.
Okay, Fred. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks,
All
Fluto.
right, take it easy. Fluto Shinzawa.